The great thing about Officer Daniels, Mike the Cop, Fuzz Fam, and others picking up last week's video and giving a few shout outs and really bumping some of the numbers is it's awesome. It's a lot of exposure.
Did you guys see all the social media frenzy today between Mike the Cop, Daniels, and even us about that new guy? There's a newcomer. There's a newcomer to the law enforcement social media.
Horrible thing about last week's video is there is no way I can make winter tips for cops seem interesting to anybody. But I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you to those three and especially everyone else. That was awesome, and hopefully this thing continues to roll. Where I'm from, it's winter like 4 months out of the year. Basically, December to March is considered our cold season. What that really means is for about 4 months, it's muddy, rainy, cold, nasty weather here in Ohio. I don't mean to be totally negative. About a week of that 4 months is usually made up of actual snow, like winter weather that you see on TV, where it's bearable to go outside and go sledding and do fun things. The rest of the time during Ohio winter, you spend wondering if you're being punished for something you did in another life. Now, typically when you get into this job, you're all excited, especially when you're younger, to get out of your car, get in foot pursuits, be out, meet the community, kind of help people out, mingle outside in the environment. But sometimes the environment can make things a little bit difficult. It's easy to do in the summertime or in nice weather, but this can make things a little tricky. So I've come up with certain things that have helped me out in the job. Just a few. Basically your hands, your body, and your feet. First of all, no matter what your department regulation is, you should be able to sneak something like this in. I have these everywhere. Everywhere. You can use these in your gloves, you can use these in your shoes, you can use these on your body. I'll actually show you some body heat warmers that I actually didn't know about till this year. Most of them last about 8 hours or over 8 hours, so it should include your entire shift. Now, if you're on a 10 or 12-hour shift, I don't know. I can tell you for 8-hour shifts that all the warmers I've tried have definitely worked. As you can see, I throw these things everywhere. So the obvious places, your gear bag in your locker, but they're small enough and pliable enough where you can stick them just about anywhere. You'll see in my gear bag here when I open it up or finally get to where I'm opening it up here in the mesh, I carry some up there so I can grab some real quick. And they're not just for me. If an officer or somebody out on the street needs them, somebody homeless or whatever that's kind of cold, you can grab them real quick right there. Also, I have a little medical kit that I keep in my bag. It's not a trauma kit. There's no tourniquets or anything like that in there, but there's some Advil and basic bandages, things like that. I also stuff some warmers in there. I found these things have about a year of shelf life. I don't know about the manufacturer. I can tell you that I've tried to use some that are 2 years old and they just don't work as well. So you can see that's where I put them in my gear bag. Some other places you might not think of to put them. Here's my gun bag. I've had a few videos on this now. I throw them up there in the mesh pocket. Never know when you're going to be out on the range or you have some training and it's colder than you thought. You can get some of those hand warmers, put them in your jacket, put them in your BDUs, put them anywhere really, get those hands warmed up so you have good fire control. This is my SWAT locker and I've just thrown some here in my go box. Just stick them anywhere you can. When you buy these things, you can get quite a bit for not a lot of money. So when I get a bag of them, I'll just stick them anywhere that I am in patrol or on the SWAT team. I have my thermals in there, some extra clothing in there, and then obviously the warmers. So first things first, your feet. Now I know everybody's department's different. Everybody's department has different regulations, so this isn't going to apply to everybody. However, these are just some things that I've encountered that have helped me, so if you can use them, great. You got to put something over your feet, so socks, obviously. I would suggest finding a good thermal sock. Most of us will have regulations of navy blue or black socks. This is my go-to sock usually, and I doubt any of this will be in focus, but I like athletic socks. I like athletic shoes for work, shoes that I can move around in. But this doesn't cut it for me in the winter when it's going to be freezing out. It's a nice sock and it's comfortable, but it doesn't really work for warmth purposes. I switch over to like a thermal sock. And if you look online, Amazon, anywhere, you can get thermal socks. I have found that they do work better. They're a little bit thicker. Most of them are made of wool or some other type of material that's better than cotton. They're not as breathable, but you can find thermal socks that are breathable. I buy Under Armour, and those work really well for me. So I would suggest thermal socks. If you can get away with it, if your department will allow, you could wear some black ski socks or even a full wool sock. And I apologize for the dog hair. I have 2 labs and hair gets everywhere. But I would suggest something even heavier than that. And again, we're talking about weather that's really going to affect you. Not 30-degree weather, but those nights where it's just like -4 or -9 or 3 degrees with wind chill. Those are miserable nights, but we still have to be out there. So being comfortable is going to help us do our job better. All right, last but not least, your footwear. Now, this is where our departments are going to completely vary across the board, but hopefully there's something in here you can pick up. This is my winter boot. This is a Danner. Most of us know about Danner. They have really thick soles. They're really well built. Most of them are Gore-Tex, waterproof, mostly weatherproof. This is what I wear in the winter. I know there's a million other brands out there. I get it. I'm not saying that they're the best above all others, but what I'm trying to say is switch your boots out. If you're wearing an athletic boot and you can switch it out in the wintertime, do it. It will make a world of difference. What I used to do is, this is my SWAT boot. I wear this on the SWAT team. If your department regulations allow more of an athletic toe or whatever, there are companies out there that allow you to, wear speed boots, I think is what they call them. But this is an Under Armour, more athletic boot. It does feel a lot better on the foot. I can actually run in this boot, and overall it feels more like a tennis shoe. Now, when I was younger, I would wear boots like these. Now, we have to wear plain toe, but you can still find boots like these with plain toe. I'd wear boots like these because they were comfortable in the wintertime, and that was horrible. As soon as I switched over to Danner, it was a much, much more comfortable feeling. These things are not winter boots. These are versatile, but they're not warm at all. So if you can get away with it, I would switch out of something like this and move into a more insulated, heavy-duty boot for the winter. All right, so next up is your body. What kind of things can you do with your body to keep warm in the winter? Best thing you can do, no matter what your uniform is, no matter what regulations you have, I would find it very hard to believe if any department does not allow you to wear some type of heating pad or something like that under your uniform. Most of us wear vests, and even better yet, vest carriers. So what these do, and I just found them this year like an idiot, they've probably been out forever, but these actually stick. They have an adhesive and they'll stick to your chest. They're like maybe $8 for a pack of 20 of these things. So you don't wear them every night, but like I was saying earlier, those nights where just, it's going to be miserable, you're not really looking forward to being out in the elements, that's when you would utilize something like this. And what I do is I put one on my chest, and if it's really, really freezing, I might put one on my lower back or something like that. And that heat just kind of radiates up and down your torso. So these are really nice. We had a SWAT call out the other day where I actually put one on each leg as well, and that worked out quite a bit. Now then you're getting into the more, is it worth the cost of doing that every time it's going to be cold? No, but it was freezing that day. I think it was 4 degrees when we served the warrant. So I threw one on each leg and one on my chest, and I was just fine. These things are great for inclement weather. The way they work is, just like any hand warmer, you open the pack, and I'm going to waste one here, but you open the pack and you can see this adhesive on the back. All you do is peel this adhesive off, and this is the part that sticks to your body. So if you're wearing thermals or something like that, you can just put it right there. I wouldn't put it up this high, but you can put it on your chest and it's going to stay. This thing's not going anywhere. You can take it off. It's never really ruined any clothes or any thermals that I've had, but it'll stick anywhere. So I've put this on my chest. I've put it on my legs. Like I've said, I put it on my lower back. They're not expensive. I think I buy them It's right around $8 or $9 for a pack of 20. They're not expensive at all. So especially when you're only using them, you know, maybe 3 to 4 times a month during those nights where it's just miserable out, these are great. There's no reason you shouldn't be going out and buying bags of these, especially for the winter time if you live in weather like I do. They're just invaluable, and the amount of heat that they produce heats an entire area, maybe 4 to 5 times its size. Like I said, I put it on my chest, heats everything up to my neck to my stomach because that heat's just radiating from it. Legs, it was going up and down my thighs. Those were nice things to have on those really cold days. One last area to keep warm are your hands, obviously. Most of us wear gloves of some sort, whether it be Hatch, Mechanics, whatever. But most of them aren't really built for warmth or insulation. You can go out there and get winter gloves. I know that there's leather gloves with insulation that you can still manipulate your firearm pretty well with. So you can go out there and you can buy those gloves and they will work very well for you. But if you're in a pinch or if you don't necessarily like the bulk of those gloves, there is a trick for your hands that I've used. I don't know if this is something that has been out there and officers actually do this on a regular, or if this is something that I just kind of found. I've never really looked into it, but when I was in the detective bureau, we'd go out and process scenes when it was cold, and you'd always wear these. You'd always wear these exam gloves, nitrile gloves, whatever you're carrying. Everybody's familiar with these. So what you do on patrol is you can still wear these gloves, and you know how your hands always get kind of hot and sticky in the summer when you're manipulating things with these gloves? I always just slide my regular patrol glove over them. So what that kind of does is, this is a wind barrier. What gets me the most is when my hands are out and about, out on a scene or on a traffic stop, whatever, and the wind's beating down on your hands, that makes it cold. Well, this kind of takes that wind out of it, a mini windbreaker, if you will, and this can provide some fabric as well on the exterior. So my hands slide right in here, and I have all the manipulation and all of the fire control with my firearm that I normally would have with gloves. So that's kind of a neat trick that works for me. It's not a be-all, end-all. You're not going to just all of a sudden be warm. It's still going to be cold, but it is one extra layer there that I think really, really helps. All right, that's it. I hope you found something useful in the video. There's a lot of things here that many of us are doing already, and it's probably going to be pretty obvious to you that you would do these things in cold weather, but maybe there's a couple things in there that people hadn't thought of or haven't really tried yet that may help you out.